Opening drive of the game with no score. Tua under center, tight end in motion. There's the snap. It's the end around, coming to Washington 20. Got a block 15. Numbers 10, near sideline 5. Pylon dive, touchdown, Miami. Oh, what a statement. On the game-opening drive, they go 70 yards. And an 18-yard touchdown run by Malik Washington, the celebrated rookie out of Virginia. 6-0 Miami.
Inside the 1-yard line. They lead the Rams 10-6 here in LA. 5:35 left to play in a fast-moving third quarter. Achane in the pistol formation. Tua takes a snap, pulls it back out, throws it, touchdown. It's Tyreek Hill.
Boy, the Tua fake, Jimmy, was fantastic. Looked like he handed the ball off only to pull it back, and Tyreek Hill was wide open, just sliding outside.
It wasn't as clean as it should have been.
On third down, they kick the field goal. And it's smothered by the Dolphins. Duke Riley is there for Miami.
This is a tough loss for the Rams. I mean, this is one that they may look back on and say that was the game that cost us.
And their defense, no touchdowns, 4 sacks, and held the Rams to 3 for 12 on third down. That is a full team win here tonight for Miami.
I was wondering about 3 guys in particular, Pacheco, Juju, and Omenihu. Any chance any or all of those guys come back to practice this week? And Kelsey, I'll have a second question as well.
Excuse me. I think they're all close. I would probably tell you Juju closer than the other 2, but I would tell you that, we might have them out there. We'll just see how it goes here today and tomorrow. They're very close, all 3 of them.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Stephen St. John, Nate Bukaty's here for a couple of hours. We've got producer Jake Gutierrez. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Today on the show, we'll talk to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold, coming off their big win over Iowa State at Arrowhead Stadium. That will be at 6:30, of course. Lance Leipold, brought to you by the official hotel of New Day with SSJ, the President Hotel, downtown KCMO. Then we're going to talk to Mark Boerichter, who will be in studio. Former Chiefs wide receiver will be with us. We're going to talk to Robert Mays, who does, from The Athletic, who does a great job covering the NFL. And we'll have him on to just take a look around the league, talk to him a little bit about the Chiefs, but talk NFL with Robert Mays, host of the Athletic Football Show. And Jeff Chidia from NFL Network and NFL.com will be in studio in the 9 o'clock hour. So we got that going for us. So a lot of good football content for you between now and 10 o'clock. We'll also play a few clips from Eli Drinkwitz, who likes to make the college football world mad, and sometimes also his own fan base. And so Eli Drinkwitz in a talkative mood after that win over Oklahoma, which was, it was pretty freaking awesome, as you might have guessed, for the amount of times we played the scoop and score that put it away for Lebo yesterday. But he asked for it. He wanted to hear it, so.
Did he?
We kept playing it, yeah. You gotta talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk.
That's right.
With me on this show. So, last night on Monday Night Football, that was somewhat of a dog a dog of a game between the Miami Dolphins and the Rams. The Dolphins won. The Dolphins needed that win. The Dolphins, man, they were close to knocking off the Bills the week before, but Buffalo kicked a 61-yard field goal to win it. And so Miami, with Tua back, is obviously a much better football team. They're actually a threat to win some games. They won 23-15 last night. Tyreek Hill was questionable right up to the game, and then he played. Didn't do a whole lot. He did score a touchdown, but still, not producing anywhere near we're used to seeing from Tyreek Hill. But they did win, and so for Miami, at 3-6, man, that would have changed everything if they could have beat the Bills the week before. They'd be sitting at 4-5, and they'd really be alive in this thing. But I took a quick peek at their schedule, and there is some business that they can do coming up. They will host the Raiders, and they will host the Patriots. And as long as Tua is upright, which is no guarantee, but as long as he's upright, I would say they win those two games, and then all of a sudden they're sitting at 5-6. Then they'd have a big showdown at Green Bay. I don't think they'll win that one. But then they come home and play the Jets. And so, and as Jake will tell you, that is a disaster of all disasters. That's a train wreck. Titanic, even though Titanic didn't sink, what was the other?
It's the Olympic.
It's the Olympic.
Yeah, it's sitting at the bottom of the ocean.
It's whatever. It's the Hindenburg, whatever disaster you want to call it. That's the Jets. And so there's a real strong possibility that Miami could win three. They're going to win 3 of their next 4. I'm picking them to win 3 of their next 4. And so then they're what, 6-7, and then anything can happen. They got to go to the Texans. The Texans are not impressive right now. The Texans have some issues. They would host the 49ers. That'll be tough. But then they finish off with the Browns and the Jets. So if you want to talk about a team, and man, again, if they would have been able to pull that upset off last week, this would be a much different story. But still, and the week before they lost by a point to the Cardinals. And a week before that, they lost by 6 to the Colts.
Yeah, they had that Cardinals game too.
But still, because we have this never-ending discussion that will continue in the 9 o'clock hour with Jeff Chadilla about who is actually going to be the 7th and final team.
I'm searching for anybody
in the AFC playoffs.
Anybody step up other than the Bengals, please.
Well, that's what I'm telling you.
Right. I was thinking that last night.
Because my point is, if he wants to tout Cincinnati is still alive, then I can tout Miami is still alive.
Absolutely.
Because Cincinnati's 4-6 and Miami's 3-6. And Miami's going to win their next 2 games. And so if Miami's 5-6, why isn't 5-6 alive and 4-6 isn't, or is? Why? It's the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean you can debate that the Dolphins probably have an easier schedule.
They do.
Well, they got 2 games against the Jets.
They do.
Yeah.
Coming up, they play the Raiders and the Patriots.
The Bengals have a tough game Sunday night
at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. And so Denver is still going to be a factor. The Colts, I don't know, man. There's been a lot of faith put into Joe Flacco, and I think it's unwarranted. And I think that's rearing its ugly head. His age at some point, and he did. Look, he was terrific last year. He has moments this year, but at some point it hits the wall for him because he did not play well against the Bills. If he didn't throw that pick 6, if he wasn't throwing the ball to the other team, maybe they upset the Bills. Okay, and so the Colts they have a good team except for quarterback, and that's been the story for them for several years. Denver's a fact because I think there's just this big line of separation. The Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, the Texans, Ravens, Chargers, those teams I think are going to the playoffs. And after that, there'll be one spot. Why we care about this one spot so much, I don't know. Because it's Jeff Chadilla, and we don't want the Bengals in there.
Right. I think it has a lot to do with the Bengals. I think if the Bengals weren't involved, because the Bengals, if they get in that 7th spot, they can do damage.
But Again, I ask you.
But we also just don't want Jeff to be right.
Do you want them in that 7 spot to do some damage?
No.
What if that damage is against the Bills?
That's the point I brought up. What do you mean, who cares?
Because you're still going to have to play the Bengals.
But they're not that good.
Who would you rather play in the playoffs, the Bills or the Bengals?
I don't know.
I think. Are you still scarred by the fact that the Bengals are the one team that actually beat Mahomes in the playoffs?
Yeah, and they played them really tough earlier in this year.
I'm scarred by what I saw a few weeks ago at Arrowhead.
Right. That's what I mean. You asked me that question. I don't have a very good answer. Would you rather play the Bills?
How did the Chiefs win that game?
Scoop and score by Connor, right?
Nah, how did they win the game at the end?
Pass interference.
Pass interference leading to so that's that. You can't rely on that all the time.
Yeah, but you can't rely on blocking a field goal all the time. The Chiefs always find a way, man.
But the Bengals.
It's the Bengals. Right?
I'm just saying, everybody seems to play the Chiefs
There's
close.
only one active quarterback who has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
I would argue
that I'd rather have him sitting on his couch.
The Chiefs beat themselves that day against the Bengals.
No.
You got to take everybody seriously in the playoffs.
Sure, but
I would rather play the Bengals than the Bills.
Yes.
I don't know.
And I might rather play I think I'd rather play God, it's crazy to say because they never win in the playoffs, but I'd rather play the Bengals than the Ravens.
No.
No.
I'd rather see playoff Lamar than Burrow. No.
So I don't know. I think I'd rather have Joe Burrow and the Bengals sitting on their couch.
You're doing the same thing. You should learn from last year. You were burying the Bills and mocking the Bills, and the Bills were the toughest out for the Chiefs last year.
Yeah,
and they truly and the Bengals, they might end up being the toughest out. It's so weird with matchups, man. It's like I know all teams play them tough, but Cincinnati thing's different. Those teams, effing hate each other.
Yeah,
and it's not just them; it's the Chiefs.
Yeah,
like in that locker room, there's some real animosity. And I just I
like that.
Yeah. But there's not a guy on these other teams to me that could go off and have some weird 250-yard receiving deal like Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because we've seen that, and he just did it.
Yeah. And you don't have Snead this time around to help.
You know what I mean? The Bills have Josh Allen. But they don't have that one weapon where you say, oh, that guy could kill us. The Ravens, the Chiefs have faced Derrick Henry many times, and that's not going to – I don't think that's going to kill you. It's going to have to be a receiver.
But they got tight ends, which seem to give the Chiefs problems. And they're a toe away from overtime anyway.
I think Jamar Chase is a different animal.
Yeah, you're right about that.
He hates the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs don't like him. But Buffalo's better. Baltimore's better, but it's a weird thing about matchups, man. What's Lamar against the Chiefs? He's only beat them one time, and that was when Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled.
The Chiefs have had some wild wins against him. You think about the fourth down, play to Tyreek Hill. You think about the L'Jarius Sneed, punching the ball out at the goal line.
I don't think the Broncos or the Colts would be a threat at Buffalo if it turned out to be that's the 7-2 matchup. Maybe the Dolphins, but I don't think so. But the Bengals would be. Because also, what have we seen in recent history? The Bengals going to Buffalo and winning in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just we had this conversation yesterday about confidence. And sometimes we overlook some of the simplest answers. What I was asking this question, and I was having some fun with it, but it was serious too last week. How can a guy, he's not a kid, he's been around the block, this is his third school. How can a guy like Drew Pine have put up good, solid numbers at a school like Notre Dame and have a record as a starting quarterback of 8-2 and win a game against Clemson, when how good Clemson was, a couple of years ago, and just have what did I say? 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, couple of running touchdowns. Like, how could and then 2 years later, when he steps in for Brady Cook, looked like he's never played Division I football before. And then in the first half of that game against Oklahoma, you're thinking, I mean, they don't trust him to throw the ball more than 5 feet. And one time he was 4 out of 4 for a yard. And so they're not going to. And then because of the circumstances of the game, they kind of let him loose in the second half. He completes a couple of plays. And I mentioned this earlier. There's one point in the first half, he's walking off the field and the camera stayed on him. And he looked like he wanted to be anywhere but that football field. And Susan was watching the game when she was, why is he so sad? I said, because he has the weight of the world on his shoulders and he's hearing boos and he knows. He knows, he's thinking, oh my God, we're an hour later, he throws a touchdown pass and he's doing the Conor McGregor walk. He's literally doing the Conor McGregor walk. And then he throws 3 touchdown passes. And he went on the field down 7 with 2 minutes left and drove Missouri right down the field. Long pass to Burden. Unbelievable. Everyone talks about the great catch from Theo Weiss. Unbelievable pass in the corner of the end zone to Theo Weiss. And I'm like, who's this? Where did you come from?
Very sexy, yes. Don't you think?
He literally did the McGregor walk, and you're like, confidence. He's jumping around. He's high-fiving. Oh, he can play. Look, what's the difference? Confidence. He had all the confidence in the world. And sometimes it's and like with the Bengals, they have this tremendous amount of confidence when they play the Chiefs, this tremendous amount of confidence when they play the Bills. And it's even different. Like, we watch them, like, where's that Cincinnati when they play Kansas City? Where's that dog-ass defense? Why do they play? It's such a weird deal, man. It's confidence. And so, yeah, if they're the 7th seed, that wouldn't shock me if they won at Buffalo, would it? No. Some weird deal. Burrow throws for 4 touchdowns and Jamar Chase 192 yards. Can you believe it? Like, yeah, I can. And so, like, I'm torn. I don't know if I want them in it or just like they're out of it. They can't do nothing. Let the Chiefs will take care of Buffalo on their own. The Chiefs don't need anyone to take care of another team.
That's right.
That's
right.
But I also would like to see Cincinnati out of it.
Right. There you go.
Just not even from trying to come up with strategy or
set
up matchups.
Chaos and turmoil. I want chaos and turmoil going on in Cincinnati.
You know?
They're a bogey team. They're dangerous.
Start blowing that team up.
Because I don't fear Miami.
But that's
with
the
all
thing,
their weapons.
Jake, about like Cincinnati is it seems like there always is chaos there. But yet, I think to Steven's point, they somehow
they're not going to be able to
dangerous.
keep both those receivers.
Yeah.
That's just not, I think Chase is showing you they need to sign him long term. He's one of the top 3 receivers in this league.
He's incredible. But, that game against Baltimore, you're the one that pointed this out many times, Stephen, that there's been many times where Burrow's had the ball late with a chance to go late in the fourth quarter, and that has not made him excellent.
No.
That's the interesting thing about him. He's got that aura of being the guy that's cool under pressure because he's won at Arrowhead, because he's won at Buffalo, but I've always noticed it ever since really you pointed it out after the Super Bowl. He had the ball in his hands at the end of the Super Bowl. Couldn't do it.
Great calling by Al Sanders. He called the great plays at the right time. Got Freeze home involved in the game late in the fourth quarter when he started to move football.
Now, Aaron Donald was Superman, but still he had the ball.
And he had the ball. Chris Jones was Superman, and he had the ball. Couldn't do it. Against the Ravens the other night, had the ball. Couldn't do it. It's interesting. It's just interesting.
Right. But, back to what I was saying about confidence, and that's what I mentioned yesterday with Drew Pine. The same thing with a guy like Sua Mataia. Watching him, I mean, look, he's physically gifted.
Yeah.
He's received elite top-level coaching now for several months, and he did not look this bad at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But now you see a player seemingly that has no confidence.
Yeah.
And there are times when he didn't even get his hands on a guy. And, like, he's not that bad.
No.
Okay? He's just not. He's just not. But his confidence, and honestly, I know people don't want to hear his name, but I think that's a big thing that happened with Sky Moore. He lost every shred of confidence that he had. I go back to that conversation I had with him after the AFC Championship win against the Bengals when he had that big punt return. And I sat there and talked with him, and he was open and honest. He was sitting next to McCall Hardman, and he said, look, it got to the point where I didn't want to be back there returning punts. I didn't even want to be on the field. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know why they were putting me out there, but I trusted them. They kept putting me out there, but I didn't want to be out there. And we don't think about that, maybe more in college, but we don't think about it in the NFL. These are the best players in the world. We don't think about them losing confidence like that. But he sat there, and the same guy, you don't think he lost his confidence as a receiver? Of course he did. Mm-hmm. You don't think Sua Matia has lost his confidence right now, or at least battling that? He has to, right?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. He's thinking instead of playing.
Confidence is a crazy thing, man.
And the Bengals don't need to trick themselves into believing they can win here. They know they can because they have.
Right. And in Buffalo.
Yeah. And that does give you a different level of confidence.
But we want them out.
Yes, we do.
But
you talked me into it.
But I just don't know. But like I said, you can look, as people have brought this up, you can look at two ways. Do you want them as a silent assassin, as a 7 seed, to try to take out the Bills? Or do you just want them, you're out. You're not invited. Bye-bye.
This is arrogant, but like you said it already. The Chiefs don't need anybody to do their business for them. The Chiefs don't need anybody to do their business for them. Doesn't mean they can't lose.
There it is.
They can lose. These games are all close. It's the NFL. They come down to margins, but the Chiefs don't fear anyone. No one.
What quarterback do you fear most? If you would make you the most nervous in the playoffs? Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer, at least from my perspective, yes. Even though this year, Lamar, good God, I just feel like at some point
that last
he
year too.
At some point he's got to break through. You would think.
Yeah.
Because I do think, because they're still young enough, I do think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson will still make it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
At some point.
Yes.
I believe one of those two guys will win one, if not both.
It just seems like all the power's been in the AFC because Mahomes, he just roadblocks them. But yeah. The Chiefs didn't blow the Ravens out in that AFC Championship game last year. That game was on. That was to be had. So yeah, and Josh Allen's driven his team down to put his team up with 13 seconds.
Josh Allen didn't miss that field goal in the divisional round. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, what happens if they make that field goal? We don't know.
He didn't give up the 13-second drive.
Right. He's done these things that would show that, hey, I did it. I'm clutch in the playoffs. You still lose. Why? Why? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Let's talk to Lance Leipold after this on WHB.
the only hotel in the Power and Light District, just steps from T-Mobile Center. Find them online at PresidentKansasCity.Hilton.com. The Hilton President's Hotel, the official hotel of New Day with SSJ.
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ. Nate Bukaty's here. How about that?
Hey, everybody.
How about that, Jake?
How about it?
Yeah.
How about it?
You can see the smile on Jake's face when I show up on the days I do.
I can see the smile on his face. He was talking to Lance Leipold.
That's right.
Doing a freaking interview with him before his interview on the air. Coach, does Jake try to talk to you too much before you come on the show?
No, he didn't. I know we got something later today I think we're doing, but looking forward to that. So hope you guys are doing well today.
Well, so Nate Bukaty is coming to Lawrence to have you on the Jayhawker podcast. Did you know it's going to be Nate Bukaty when you agreed to that, or is you just finding that out now? I mean,
it was in the fine print. It was in the fine print.
It's where they usually hide.
There's some real fine print there, Coach.
That's where Nate usually gets hidden.
On the back side of the contract at the very bottom, yeah.
They told me they asked me about doing it, and then they were it was really talking really fast at the end like a commercial,
right?
And then all of a sudden they said there's a new guy doing it, and
you better be prepared for a lot of talking. That's all I'm going to tell you. There'll be a lot of questions thrown at you, but you know what? It's a lot more fun to talk after a win like your team had at Arrowhead Stadium against Iowa State. That was a hell of a win. Let's just start with what was that locker room like after the game to get that win? You never know until it's over, right? And Iowa State kept fighting, but you get the win against a really good football team.
Yeah, we did, and like you said, winning's hard, and sometimes when you're around places that win a lot, sometimes it can be taken for granted, and as we know, it's been a battle this year, and to see a locker room celebrate and the excitement and different things that happened during the game, whether it be Devin Neal, setting the all-time rushing record, or Mello Dotson with a pick six for his fourth in his career, things like that. To watch the guys celebrate each other's success, to see the excitement about winning a football game again and sticking together, I thought it was pretty special, and hopefully something we can build upon here.
We were just in the last segment, Stephen was talking about confidence and what a difference it makes for any athlete and for a team. And I saw your quotes after the game where you were saying like it felt like an NBA game where you knew somehow it was going to be close, at the end of the game. What is the confidence level like of the team now, and how important is it to win a game like that for that specific purpose of just building confidence for your team when it comes to these late game situations?
I think our confidence has grown immensely, even from like Arizona State on. I think there's some of those that as we continued to battle and saw how close we really were in the game at K-State and all those things, kind of like we can get this thing done if we keep working and working hard. To see us get out to that type of lead, I thought defensively that late first quarter, second quarter, up until right before the half was probably as good a defense as we've played in a while, putting pressure on the quarterback, making things happen, getting possessions, all those things, the explosiveness. Here we punt the ball and down it at the one. Think we've done the strategy part that you need to start the game, and they drive quickly on us, 99 yards, and sometimes you get that, oh no, here we go again type mentality. But the quick strike to Luke Graham to answer it, I think really gave us the shot in the arm that we needed. And again, this team has hung well together and will continue as we get ready for our biggest challenge probably yet of the year.
So in the post-game press conference, you had that real deal Devin Neal T-shirt on to celebrate his accomplishment. And so that was obviously awesome of you to support him in that way. But for a kid like that to have that record, and you know as well as anyone, that's a record that's a nod to all the offensive linemen that blocked for him, everyone on that offense. That's in a way a team record as well. But it takes a terrific running back to be able to put those career numbers up through ups and downs and anything else. What can you say about this kid now that he is atop that list of all-time leading rushers in Kansas history?
Well, again, it's one of those things that where you go, dreams become reality, goals become reality when you talk about what a young man could do if he comes to this university to play, if he stays with it. We talked to him in length last year after the regular season about what was available for him to obtain goal-wise if he returned for a fourth season, as well as a graduation plan that he'll graduate here in December in 3.5 years. All the things that you kind of talk about to see it kind of play out really makes you feel good. It gives you things that you can talk about the future players. The thing about Devin that makes it to me is the more the questions get asked about him, Stephen, is the thing about him is like here we are. We're at this point of the season, and he's out there yesterday in practice on a Monday, taking all the reps that he would be in on at any other time. He's not like, I'll be out there on Wednesday when we start cranking it up a little bit more. He takes such good care of himself. He knows the importance of practice and getting things done and getting timing and staying active, and he's done such a good job. He's a pro before he's a pro.
We're visiting with Lance Leipold. And, Coach, the weeks we've been talking to you going all the way back, you mentioned the confidence growing since the Arizona State game, and that's when it felt like the offense really started looking like the offense that we've gotten to know and love from KU. And when Jalen Daniels started hitting these downfield passes, it just seems like it's gotten better every game since then. And I sit there as a fan and watch and go, is this because you had a change in some of the coaches and they had to get their feet under them and get on the same page with the quarterback? Did he have to build confidence after being off for a while? Is there anything like what for you when you look at it, what started clicking? Why has it gotten so much better here over those last few weeks?
I think it's probably a little bit of everything, to be quite honest, Nate. It's one of those things that you wish it would have been smoother and things earlier, as we know. I kind of, I've tried not to overanalyze it, but again, it's my responsibility to look at it. I kind of look at it as you guys remember when we first got here in 2021, and I might have said this once with you, is, when we didn't have spring ball with the guys, the month of August of the 21 season was like spring football. The month of September was like fall camp. The month of October was more like our September, and then November we started to play better football like it would be your middle of the season. I think some of that may also be true this time with Jalen and our offense of, he didn't do much in the spring. He did a fair amount in fall camp, but we didn't have all the pieces always practicing, and it's just taken a little bit of everyone and a new play caller to get in full rhythm of what everyone does well when they're all out there. Because Lawrence Arnold and Quentin Skinner didn't really practice a whole lot for us in spring and fall camp together to see all these pieces together and to get and I think there was some rust for Jalen to get used to being back out there, but hopefully we've hit our stride now and we can finish this last quarter of the season as strong as we ever have.
All right, let's talk about this upcoming matchup, and this is a huge game. It's a 9:15 Central kickoff at BYU, but everyone's going to be watching this game. BYU's undefeated. You're going to have the rest of the conference watching and rooting for Kansas, and a whole bunch of other teams that are trying to make it in the college football playoffs rooting for Kansas. And you have a chance still to get to a bowl game and to decide who ends up playing in this Big 12 title game. BYU it's a unique atmosphere, but you've played in Manhattan. You've played in some really tough atmospheres. When you look at BYU, and they've had some close calls, and that Utah game came right down to the wire, what stands out to you? I know that they have, 16 interceptions and 11 different guys have a pick on that defense, and that shows a lot about their depth. But when you look at their team, what stands out to you and how they've been able to find their way to 9-0 after being picked in the preseason, finished 13th in the conference?
Yeah, there's a lot there, Stephen. What you said, there's so many parts of it that said it's going to be a heck of a challenge in Provo. Talking with some people that have played there, it's said to be one of the best environments and loudest places that in our conference currently. So that'll be a big factor. Obviously, they're a top 10 team in the country. You watch what they've done. I know last year, our game with them here was, I think, their first Big 12 game. They talked about things that they wanted to prove on as they were adjusting to the Big 12, and that was becoming a more physical football team. That was probably the first thing that stood out to me watching their film. They're extremely physical in the offensive defensive lines and the front seven. They're physical in the running game. A lot of pieces together. Excellent in special teams. They faked kicks, field goal and punts, and had huge plays. They returned punts and kickoffs for touchdowns. So we've got to find a way to neutralize all that besides an excellent offense. And you mentioned I've never heard of 11 different players having interceptions in my coaching career. So I don't know. I'll have to go back and look someday of where that's ever been. But to have that many guys showing that you rotate a lot of people, you're getting people on the field, but people are making plays for you, it'll be a great challenge. And like you said, there's a lot of people that will have eyes on this game. It might be one that you got to catch a nap before on Saturday afternoon because this will be a late one for us.
Do you think that the altitude? Do you do anything differently to get ready for the altitude, or is it even a factor in your mind going into a game like this?
For me, it's like one of these age trailers. We are doing a couple things that we're looking at with our players to try to make sure that we're in a good spot. We've talked more equally about rest than the other things, but sometimes it can play a small part. And our people that research this have said, most of the time it's because we're there for a shorter time that it doesn't have as big of an effect on us. But there are a few things that we're doing with our guys.
I'll give you one tip, Coach, for you at least. When you're getting interviewed by Nate later on, just hold your breath during his long questions, and that'll get your lungs ready for Provo, and so you'll be good to go. I mean, it won't help the players. But you'll be good and strong in the fourth quarter.
I thought you were going to say take a nap.
Yeah. You can
be rested up for that late kickoff. Yeah.
I've learned how to sleep with my eyes open sometimes. So if you can pull that one off, maybe, I don't know. There's a couple of things you can do there. So Nate's going up there just to help you prepare. That's his goal.
Anything I can do to help, Coach.
Yeah, bring that game plan sheet for you, suggestion page for me, please.
Yeah, we'll put together some options for you. But Coach, I'll tell you what, we're real happy that you won that game against Iowa State. That was a hell of a game. We're looking forward to another one late on Saturday night. We'll get our naps in so we can stay up and watch Kansas and BYU, and you can listen to it, of course, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Coach, good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Rock Chalk.
What time are you going up there?
I think the interview's supposed to take place around 3 o'clock or so. So you got to make sure you're nice and early.
Yeah.
Set up and ready to go. I'm excited because last week when I went up there to do the interview with Coach Self, Jason Booker took me around and showed me the construction that's going on at the stadium. And, man, it's going to be awesome once that stadium is done. It is. Memorial Stadium is in a great place, but the stadium itself has been outdated since I was in college. And it's gonna be so nice.
Are we supposed to tell them about what we talked about yesterday or no? About the show outing?
Oh, we can. I don't know if we're supposed to or not.
I mean, it's up to you.
Is the show outing?
Do you want to? Is what I'm asking you.
He doesn't sound like he wants to, does he? He's like, we can.
I don't know if we're supposed to. I didn't say we're. I mean, do you want to?
Yeah, we'll tell him.
Who's going so far?
Well, me, you, and Lebo right now.
Right, but I think Dietz wants to go.
Okay. You didn't express
this guy loves. Well, we've talked about it in the past about that game.
Yeah. All right.
But now it's like it's going to be an even bigger game than we thought.
Might deter him if Nate's going though.
I probably got something to do anyway.
You're not gonna go. We're all talking about going to watch Kansas and Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big game.
It sounds like he's already got something going on.
I'm leaving town that day. Yeah, that sucks.
You're definitely invited.
Now we got a ticket for you.
Now I'm invited.
We actually got a sweet ticket for you.
Oh yeah, no, my aunt Jerry is trying to get the whole family to go, and I really want to, but I've got to leave town for work that day, unfortunately, because I'm with you. That
Colorado, the at Kansas game, the other two games, home against Utah and home against Oklahoma State. And I think that loss to BYU just might take whatever life was left out of Utah. And so I think Colorado's going to roll them, and I think they'll beat Oklahoma State. It very well could. It's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to Colorado. If they can beat Kansas, they'll be in the Big 12 title game. And if they can't beat Kansas, then you could be putting K-State in there.
Right.
And with the way the KU's offense is playing now, Jalen Daniels versus Sanders is like.
Don't you want to see that?
All of a sudden, it looks like the kind of I very much want to, but I.
By the way, it's a 2:30 kickoff, so it's right where it needs to be.
Whole state of Kansas will be rooting for the Jayhawks that day.
Yeah, I'll be. Listen, do you guys see
Wildcat fans need some help?
Have you seen what the spread is for this game against BYU? I would assume Jake has.
Tell us.
What would you have you seen it, Jake?
Yeah, I know it.
BYU's favored by 3. I mean, that means it's a neutral site pick 'em, right?
Well, I said Kansas is going to beat Iowa State last week, so I'm telling you, and you think I'm crazy. You just told me what did we say in the commercial break? You said this is going to be their toughest test. I said I don't think so. I think Colorado's going to be. I think right now Colorado's better than BYU at this moment.
Yeah, I mean I don't think that's an outlandish take. It's a hot take, but not outlandish.
Right.
Hard to beat an undefeated team, but at the same time, they're coming off a rivalry game
that they should have lost.
And this Kansas team actually has confidence.
Ask the Utah AD whether or not they should have lost that game. This guy wants out of this conference. He's done.
Boy,
he's already had it. I said, Jake, some brief comments. I got to find the full Monty on that one. This guy is done. He'll turn right around, leave this. He go right back to Utah. Go right back to somewhere else.
Where?
I don't know.
Where's he going to go back to?
Somewhere else. Not here. He didn't like it. Utah don't like it.
Well,
why don't you treat them better?
Listen,
I can't say anything. The team I follow is in the SEC. Why don't you treat Utah better? What do you have against Utah in the Big 12 powers that be? Why are you trying to squeeze them right off the bat?
Listen,
what did Utah do to you?
I think that Utah's not the only team that could gripe about breaks that have gone for or against them this year.
Sounds like their AD thinks they are the only team.
Well,
he didn't like
12 years, this game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us.
You lost.
Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professional of the officiating crew tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Something tells me you hadn't heard those comments yet, have you?
I had not heard those yet. You're welcome.
What do you think of those comments? This guy was excited about being in the Big 12. Now he is not. He's going to call Brett Yormark. He's disgusted by the professionalism of the officials. Thank you. Let's let that sit. Let that sit. All right? Utah has had it with this conference. Back after this on WHB.
Only hotel in the Power and Light District, just steps from T-Mobile Center. Find them online at PresidentKansasCity.Hilton.com. The Hilton President's Hotel, the official hotel of New Day with SSJ.
You are listening to New Day with SSJ.
Welcome back to the show. Short segment here before we're joined by Mark Borichter. Let's listen to a clip from Eli Drinkwitz, Mizzou head coach, on Sirius XM College Sports Radio.
How many should?
Yeah.
I think
12.
any team in the SEC, that finishes with 10 wins on their season should be in the playoffs. I don't think there's really any doubt in my mind about that. So I don't know how many are going to get there because there's a lot of games left to be played. But it feels like every game we play in the SEC is a playoff game. There was a comment by a couple of coaches in our group chat about, the SEC added Texas and Oklahoma, which are two of the premier teams in college football that win Big 12 championships. I think Oklahoma's got the most conference championships in college football, and they're just an unbelievable traditional program. And some of these other conferences added Group of 5 schools. And so when you talk about strength of program, strength of conference, top to bottom, I don't think there's any doubt, top to bottom. And I know this will really upset Danny Cannell because he's not a huge SEC defender. But top to bottom, when you add OU and Texas to our league and you add Vanderbilt as a bowl team right now, I don't think top to bottom there's any other conference that can even touch us. And I know this will really upset Danny's playoff take, but that's my personal opinion. We're going to go play a South Carolina team that's got more NFL potential on defense than just about anybody we've played outside of Oklahoma and Alabama. And, so it's a challenge.
That was Eli Drinkwitz. Problem is, a lot of teams could end up with 10 wins. I don't know what the tiebreakers are.
Everybody in the SEC should just get in the playoff.
Well, that's good.
Because they're in the SEC.
Not Oklahoma.
No?
No.
Except Oklahoma.
Not Oklahoma. Not Mississippi State. But definitely not Oklahoma. I'll leave them out. Now, I apologize, Todd. You've been eliminated. Mark Borichter is not eliminated. He'll be in studio next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
42 seconds. Second and 5. Arnold to throw. Has time. Steps up. Now he's being chased. Ball's loose. Fumble. Missouri's got it. And they're going to score the other way. Oh, no.
Day with SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated. HLAC certified to the highest medical laundry standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.